Here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Our guests are the award-winning Israeli journalist Amira Haas, who is a correspondent for Haaretz, lives in the occupied territories. And we're joined in Tel Aviv by Dr. Jamal Zahalka, Arab member of the Israeli Knesset. He is chair of the Balad Party, which is a part of the joint list of Arab parties, joining us from Tel Aviv. Doctor, you're an MK, I guess you're called in Israel, member of the Knesset. Dr. Zahalka, your response to the win of Netanyahu, who has vowed there will be no Palestinian state, and went after Arab voters yesterday, saying if he lost, it would be because of, well, I guess people like you.
First of all, we are proud of the achievement of our joint list. We are 4 parties and we win more than 30% more voters voted for us. Mr. Netanyahu winning the Israeli elections is a very, very, very bad message to everybody, to everywhere, because he implemented war crimes in Gaza and he should be punished. Now he's became Israeli hero. So I think this is why, because the world watched him and did nothing, men like him should be sentenced in international tribunal. He killed more than 2,000 Palestinians. I think this is the main thing in the Israeli elections. Meanwhile, politically no change in Israel. Netanyahu is continuing with the same policies.
And what about the impact of the growth of the joint list vote? Most Americans are not aware that the Arab population of Israel is 20%. That's a higher percentage than the African-American population of the United States. And what about the impact for the future in Israel of the growth of the Palestinian or Arab vote of citizens of Israel?
We are stronger now and we can defend better our people and their interests, our lands, our rights, and oppose raising Israeli racism and policies, especially those of Mr. Netanyahu himself. He did yesterday something which I don't think that any prime minister in the world did. He said that voting of some citizens is a danger. Instead of encouraging the citizens to go to vote, he said that Arabs are voting and it's danger for us. This is something I think clarify that Mr. Netanyahu is anti-democrat and racist mainly.
This is one of the videos produced by the Joint List that features a variety of Israeli voters explaining why they support it.
I'm voting for the Joint List as a Jew because I think that it's the only democratic option.
The hesitators need to look inward and ask themselves what they're afraid of.
Because I'm sure you want to live in a state of social justice and equality.
I feel totally confident and comfortable as a Mizrahi Jewish feminist to vote for the Joint List.
The Joint List represents me as a half-Palestinian, half-Jewish girl living here.
It's the first time that I feel I'm going to vote wholeheartedly.
It's the only list that represents both of us.
The Joint List is my political home.
Nice.
One of the videos produced by the Joint List. Dr. Zahalka, can you explain what the Joint List is? What are the parties that make it up and how you came into being?
You know, the Joint List is comprised of 4 parties. Hadash, which is communists and their allies. It's binational party, Jews and Arabs. And Balad, my party, is a Democratic National Party and a moderate Islamic movement and the Arab Movement for Change. And I think that we became a major force in the Knesset by joining together. And we also have many Jews who are supporting us, and because we have also they support us as act of solidarity with oppressed people, first of all, and also because we have a democratic platform, the only democratic platform in the Israeli Knesset, based on the state for all its citizens, not state who belong to one group of the citizens, namely Jewish state.
During an interview with a website owned by U.S. casino magnate Sheldon Adelson, one of his leading backers, the Prime Minister, Netanyahu, unequivocally vowed never to allow a Palestinian state if he's reelected.
I think that whoever moves to establish a Palestinian state or intends to withdraw from territory is simply yielding territory for radical Islamic terrorist attacks against Israel. This is a genuine reality that was created here in the past few years. Those who do not understand that bury their heads in the sand. The left-wing parties do it, bury their heads in the sand, time and again.
So, Amira Haas, talk about the significance of this and also of the growth of the joint list. Is this a new development in Israeli politics?
Yeah. As I said before, what Netanyahu said now in an interview to an American probably he says now he's more frank than he was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago. But again, his actions have been always directed to preventing a Palestinian state from being established. But he was not unique in that sense. I mean, the whole trend in the past 20 years of labor-led coalitions and labor-led governments all was channeled to this reality that the two-state solution seems almost impossible, at least in the sense that we saw the two-state solution. Gaza, West Bank, 67 border, East Jerusalem, the capital, and no settlements. I mean, now when they talk about Palestinian, some kind of a strange configuration of a Palestinian state in the West Bank, which is a agglomeration of some islands in the ocean of Israeli-controlled area. I mean, this is a joke. This is not really two states. So I don't attribute, personally, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't attribute too much importance to this statement, only that maybe he is defying more the American audience who likes to hear, or the American politicians who like to hear that, oh, since also even Netanyahu is for the two-state solution, let's continue and support him. Maybe it's a sort of defiance, stretching a bit more this edge, or pushing the edge a little bit more. I tend to believe that also this will pass quietly, but I hope to be wrong. But now the list, of course, I think it's it's the only positive thing about these elections, the joint list. First of all, because it was, you know, that actually it was a reaction to the Knesset bill to increase the threshold for these elections. So not three votes, not 3 seats in the parliament, but 4 seats in the parliament, so that you should get as many votes as, I mean, up to 4 seats minimum in the parliament, which meant that some of the parties were in danger not to be elected, some of the Arab parties of the 4. And this brought to the decision to unite forces, even though there are big differences between the different parties and animosities, you know, that exist. Because, okay, they are all Arabs, but they also have different convictions and different viewpoints. But still, we thought, many of us, both Palestinians, citizens of Israel, and Israeli Jews, we felt that because it is the most targeted community in Israel, targeted against, because the threshold build meant to eliminate them, or almost eliminate them, from political presence, from parliamentary presence. And by the way, it was the Avigdor Lieberman suggested it, and it went through, and some of the so-called mainstream parties voted also in favor. So this was a defiance of the Israeli right-wing wish to oust them from political presence. And this is already a victory. If there are 13 seats or 14 seats, which are 2 or 3 more than it used to be altogether in the past elections, then it's already a sense of achievement. I wouldn't say victory, but a real achievement that can also, of course, as being the third strong party in the parliament, it gives them certain position within the committees of the parliament. But the best thing for me is the message to the Palestinians in Israel and also in the West Bank and Gaza, that some changes in internal politics can create a change of other effects.
I wanted to ask you, in the lead up to the elections, a lot of the coverage here in the United States talked about the growth of the economic issues in the Israeli electorate, and not so much the issue of the occupation. But in the end, it really was the occupation that drove so much of the vote for Netanyahu. Don't you think? I mean, did the economic issues fade?
The feeling that there is nothing to change about the occupation. This is good. I mean, people approve that voting for Netanyahu is an approval of a reapproval of his policies to keep the occupation going, to call it I don't know what to call it, to name it, to call Gaza a state, a separate state, to have wars every now and then, to repress the Palestinians. This is a vote for confidence, an Israeli vote of confidence for these policies, and which says that yeah, it is always a mystery how a population that is not rich, the Israeli Jewish, not everybody is rich. Not everybody benefits from the plutarchy that Netanyahu has created over those years. On the contrary, still they vote for the nationalist option. But it works. At the end, it works because we are still we are better off. We benefit from the occupation. As we see it now, I mean, Israelis, we benefit from the occupation when it comes to water, when it comes to land, distribution of land, also in Israel proper. When it comes to always having an option to go and move into the occupied territory, there are more than 500,000 Jews who live in the occupied territory. I mean, both in East Jerusalem and in the West Bank, and they in conditions so much better that they could never afford in Israel proper. 500,000 is a lot, is not something to dismiss.
I wanted to ask Dr. Jamal Zahalka about the foreign minister, Netanyahu's foreign minister, Avigdor Lieberman, who recently made headlines after calling for the beheading of disloyal Arab Israeli citizens, prompting critics to label him the Jewish ISIS. Your response to Mr. Lieberman?
Mr. Lieberman is a racist, and being the foreign minister of Israel reflects the change in Israel, and that racism is not in the margin, but it's the mainstream of Israeli politics. The fact that capitals in Europe and in America received him and they respect a racist character like him, a racist man like him, I think it's a very bad message to Palestinians as a whole and Palestinian citizens of Israel. We don't care about you. He's racist against Arabs, not against Jews, so he should be forgiven. That's what. Otherwise, he shouldn't be a guest in Paris and London and Berlin and Rome and Washington. I think. The world should intervene what's happening in our country, and I think the world should force a solution. Israel is not right for any kind of solution, and the only way to end the bloodshed is that the world intervene and have a force solution over everybody according to the UN resolutions.
How can you, as an Arab Israeli, what difference can Arab parties make in the Israeli Knesset?
we struggle for our rights and defending our land, and we use the Knesset for that. So now we will be represented in more committees, and we will have more votes in the Knesset, and the world will change its policy toward us. I met European embassies, and everybody came, and they were very interested in our list, and now they are not dealing with us as parties, but rather as representatives of our community. This is very important according to the world, and every establishment in Israel would be forced to do that for us, with us also. So now we are not one party of four parties united, but rather representatives of our community in the Knesset.
I was just speaking to a young Palestinian activist. She couldn't vote in the Israeli elections. She lives in the occupied territories. But she said she really hoped, if she could vote, she would have voted for Netanyahu. Because she said he states it exactly as it is. Yeah. The other parties may soft pedal it, but at least the world understands what's happening.
Yes, there is such a theory, which of course, you know, it's... we all know that he speaks frankly what maybe the Labour Party is saying more softly, but when it comes to policies, there hasn't been much of a difference. There is still, with age, I come to appreciate also the danger of being in the worst, choosing for the worst situations. Because when it's worse, it's worse. And sometimes if he might bring his bullies to be in ministries and in the army and in all kind of deciding stations in the body politic, which can push to brutalization which is not reversible. This is what I fear. It is not that I think that Labour would have made a change. Of course not, and it's not. I never thought of voting for them, but the brutalization that the presence of very right-wing parties in a coalition, this brutalization is very dangerous for both people. So sometimes it might be healthier or wiser to wait a bit more and to change also one's tactics than to opt for the worst solution. I mean, that's my the right wing, the extreme right wing in Israel, I mean, the most racist party of all, and the really dangerously racist party, Yachad, I think they're named together, which is a combination of very, very how would I say, retarded religious party with the extreme nationalist religious group, didn't pass the threshold. Though we still have to wait for the soldiers' votes. They are counted a day or 2 days later, and usually they strengthen the right wing. So we have to wait for the soldiers. I wanted to add that one of the things that really warmed our hearts, I mean, I would say left-wing, and even some of the Israeli press, is that the joint list, Arab list, also presented that they, true, as Jamal said, they are representing the Palestinian community in Israel, but they also want to represent and to fight for the rights of other weakened groups in the Israeli society. Which means also Jews. So to fight for social justice for all, and of course coming out from their position as representatives of the Palestinian community in Israel. But this is something that it showed how they are so much more enlightened than any of the other Israeli Jewish parties.
We're going to leave it there. I want to thank you both for being with us. Amira Haas is a longtime Israeli journalist, has lived in the occupied territories for more than 20 years, award-winning journalist with Haaretz newspaper. Her mother's book has just come out in paper book, Diary of Bergen-Belsen, 1944-45, by Hannah Levy Haas, with a forward and afterword by Amira Haas. We also want to thank our guest in Tel Aviv, Dr. Jamal Zahalka, Arab member of the Israeli Knesset, chair of the Balad Party, which is a part of the joint list of Arab parties.